move on to 1 p.m. Eastern, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Buffalo Bills 4-2, 1-1 on the road. At the New England Patriots 1-5, 0-3 at home. 57 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 13 miles per hour. Take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Bills at -8.5, sitting at -8.5. That's where it opened. There's been very little movement on the side. From a total look, we have it sitting at 41. This opened up right at 41, so we've had no move on either side or total. And when we look at the cash for Bills Patriots, you have 80% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the under. It's not moving. And from a spread perspective, 59% of the tickets and 70% of cash on the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo comes in off a very underwhelming 14-9 victory at home over the Giants. So that's back-to-back very underwhelming performances from the Bills. They were shut out in the first half for the first time since 2019. Josh Allen, 19 of 30 for 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Stephon Diggs caught 10 for 100. The rest of the team caught 9 passes for 69 yards. The running game was strong. I haven't said that very often about the Bills. Cook ran 14 times for 71 yards. Latavius Murray added 12 carries for 45 yards. The defense held down the Giants' offense that was starting Tyrod Taylor. But the Giants were able to move the ball. They went 10 of 19 on third down. The issue was they were completely stopped in the red zone, going 0 for 5. The Bills are now 4th in the league, holding opponents to TDs on just 35% of their drives. I'm really interested to see what that's going to look like against better teams. That won't be able to find that out this week, but without Milano, I'm very interested if that red zone defense can still hold up. It's the second week in a row opponents have looked really good on third down against the Bills. Last week, the Jaguars went 10 of 18 on third down. That's really important to keep Allen off the field. So, it was important for the defense to get some confidence without Matt Milano. They had 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Damian Harris suffered a neck injury. He's in concussion protocol. Dalton Kincaid missed Sunday's game. He's still in concussion protocol. And Dane Jackson missed Sunday's game with a foot injury. He's improving, but he remains day-to-day. Patriots coming off their third straight loss, 21-17 at the Raiders. At least they ended that 79-point scoring streak by their opponents. Jeez. I mean, it's just horrific. This is the first time Belichick has started the season 1-5 with the Patriots. The Patriots have failed to cover the spread in their last 9 games as dogs. And this is starting to be a trend here. They can't cover as dogs, and they should have covered. I know it broke a lot of people's hearts, that safety. It didn't break mine. I was very, very fortunate. I'd counted it as a loss, basically. Mac Jones looked a little better, but he didn't look good. 24-33, 20 yards, 1 pick. The interception was awful, though. I mean, it's one thing to have a pick, bounces off your receiver's hand, someone grabs it, but this one was so awful. It had to sink the spirits of the team. Down 10-3, driving in the Raiders' territory. He gets out of the pocket. He's moving towards the sideline. He throws back across his body, and it was the most important turning point up until the end of the game, but for the Raiders. Kendrick Bourne caught 10 for 89. No one else caught more than 28 yards. Ramondre Stevenson ran 10 for 46, caught 5 for 24. Zeke ran 7 for 34. I don't know why they don't just pound the rock more. The defense couldn't get enough pressure on Hoyer once he replaced Jimmy G. 0 sacks and 3 quarterback hits. They allowed a weak Raider offense go 8 for 16 on third down. Now, they did hold the Raiders to just 1 of 6 in the red zone. And that's where the Patriots are a little tricky. They're 7th in the league, allowing touchdowns on 45% of red zone opportunities against. It's amazing how bad the Patriots are and how good they are in the red zone. They went 2 of 2 in the red zone offensively. They're 3rd in the league. They're converting 70% of their red zone opportunities, but they just don't get there enough. Defensive end Keon White's in concussion protocol, and their guard Michael Owenu, he entered the game, but he did not take he dressed for the game. He was listed as questionable, but he did not take the field. He just sat there on the sidelines. So we're not sure if he's capable of going even this week. They need the help on the offensive line. Take it away for us here, Mikey. Bills, Patriots, in Foxborough.
Stakes are high for me in this game. I made a preseason proclamation, and right around now is the Bill Belichick gets his ass tossed out of town spot here. So I predicted it would be between the Bill. Well, first and foremost, I said he's going to get fired. And then second, I gave a week to it. And I said it was between the Bills beatdown and then the Dolphins coming in next week, right? Or the next game that they have. So I feel like we're here. We're seeing a lot of heat out there. He kind of told Mac Jones, got to restart. You got to refresh yourself. You got to get back to the get-go last week. And even though he refreshed and restarted himself, he wasn't able to get the job done. So 4 straight covers in a row against the New England Patriots are those Buffalo Bills in the Josh Allen era. They're whooping them by 12. They're finding a way to get the job done. You talked about New England's lack of success against the spread. They're also not successful in scoring. They're 0-6. They haven't gone over once this season. Buffalo on the road as a favorite with a total that's greater than 41 is 10-0 to the under. I'm sorry, with a total that is 41. They're 10-0 to the under. Right now we're at 41.5, so we'll keep our eyes on that game. When it's that situation, I won't trigger. I won't try to take advantage of it saying, oh, well, it's only a half a point. I'm not going to jump in and try to trigger something that's not there. So I'm going to keep my eyes on that 41 as we get closer to game time. The big injury last week for the Bills, Damian Harris, but kind of a little silent but deadly type of injury here when it comes to Josh Allen. And everyone's been talking about what's wrong. They don't quite look right. He's got that mild AC sprain, and he's had that mild AC sprain. That was a factor that hurt him at the end of last season when they got to the playoffs. We saw his effectiveness and production go down. He's a powerful arm. He's got a powerful arm. The arm strength is where, it should be a factor. It's going to hurt on the power throws or the deep balls down the field for like a Diggs guy when he's stretching down, or Gabe Davis was a big threat target out there. And we've seen the last couple of weeks, Gabe Davis hasn't been able to get the job done. Now, Derek Carr had a worse injury than that and was able to come back last week and be successful. So in terms of its overall impact to Allen, I don't know if it's just lingering or nagging, but the word on the street right now in Buffalo is that they broke down that playbook. And they're really working with the offensive coordinator to try to figure out what's working and what's not working. And, right now, there's just not a lot working. When you saw that Bills game against the Giants last week, it was ugly as ugly gets. Couple thoughts, and when I look at this number and break it down, I talked about the situation after a team plays New England. There's also a factor when a team plays the Raiders. When they play the Raiders the following week and they're an underdog, they're 1-17 to the under. So that coupled with the fact that the Bills have been covering by 12 kind of led me to 2 spots. The last number I'm going to throw out there, this is one of my favorites. When you get a situation where you look at the line and then you put the line with the total points being scored and it's less than 0, those teams, this is an NFL-wide trend that goes back to 1998. So it's a little bit of math here. You got to look at the total line from the last game. You got to look at the number of points that they scored. And when it's less than 0, teams are 23-3 straight up. They're 21-5 against the spread, covering by a margin of a touchdown. I'm on the Bills here. I'm going to take the Bills, and I got the -8.5 is where I was going with that. The secondary look that I'm looking at here is that New England team total under. It's only a lean for me right now because I got to wait and see if that total ends up being at 41. If it's at 41, then I'm going to pound away on that New England team total under. I don't expect them to be able to generate much offense. They haven't shown us an ability to generate offense and score points. The Bills have been owning New England since the Josh Allen era has begun. They're tweaking the playbook for the Bills offense to be able to find out what's working, and we've got that NFL system-wide trend. So I'm going to lay the points at -8.5. I also did a big 3-team teaser with the Bills as one of those legs as well. So I'll make sure to cover that at the end.
I immediately wanted the Bills when I looked at this, not just because fading the Patriots has been so successful financially for us all, but we talk about favorites with motivation,
right?
And the Chiefs, had no motivation in my estimation against the Broncos. They had a ton of motivation against the Bears because they looked so bad in those first 2 games. The Bills' offense has to get right.
Right.
So I like this look. They hate the Patriots. They have to get right. You put it all together, and why wouldn't they cover? I would, because I kind of like the over in this one, and your trends can comfortably get me off of it. If that's the case, then I want the Bills. And like Birdie saying in the chat, every week sharps are backing the Patriots. It's like the Browns of 3
The Browns
years
a couple seasons ago. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I like this spot that you're on. And
I found a -8 at -113. I don't know if you can beat that number.
I can't.
That Rivers has the -8, -113. And I feel to me that we're not seeing surprisingly enough, the only game that we saw any real points production out of New England was against that Eagles game, and it was raining, it was ugly, it was week 1 of the season. They don't sure what Mac Jones was going to do from an offensive performance yet at that point. And since then, they've only done less and less and less. I like that team total under for New England, but I just feel like the Bills, you're right, they're motivated. They've got to come out here. They're looking all over that clubhouse to try to figure out where the issues are, and every single person's willing to make a change that says it's not me that's the problem. I want to keep this job. I like being on this team. So I think they're going to open up. I think that lack of kind of digging in, you don't have a lot of guys that have a ton of experience and tenure across the board. So nobody's dug in. They don't have their heels dug in and saying, we're not going to change. This is the way I do it. They're all willing to be, flexible and try to find a way to come out with the right outcome. So I like that Bills spot quite a bit.
I like it too. Mikey, I'm on the Bills -8, -113. I think I'll move on it as well. It correlates enough for me to move on it. The motivation on a favorite has been very successful this year. Let's move on.